Merfolk.
All in a search for more in life. In the history of the natural world to the supernatural, I found many weird things. But just because I don't know what it is doesn't make it supernatural. While the true heart of science is to always question even yourself. In the end, I have become an objective atheist. I am an atheist, but I want there to be more.
Merfolk, mermaids and mermen, is a legendary aquatic creature with the head of the upper body of a human and the tail of a fish. Historical accounts of mermaids, such as those reported by Christopher Columbus during his exploration of the Caribbean, may have been inspired by manatees and other similar aquatic mammals. While there is no evidence that mermaids exist outside of folklore, reports of mermaid sightings continue to this present day, including 21st century examples from Israel and Zimbabwe. Cyanomelia, also called mermaid syndrome, is a rare congenital disorder in which a child is born with his or her legs fused together and a small genitalia. This condition is about as rare as conjoined twins, affecting 1 out of every 100,000 live births, and is usually fatal within a day or two of birth because of kidney and bladder complications. 4 survivors were known as of July 2003. The goddess Atargatis, showed as a fish with a human head on an ancient Greek coin of Demetrius III, was one of the earliest seen recording of this image. The first known mermaid stories appeared in Assyria about 1000 BC. The goddess Atargatis, mother Assyrian queen Semiricius. From there it seems that merfolk of some form or another seem as much as a part of society as fish and as common. Sometime before 546 BC, Milesian philosopher Anaximander postulated that mankind had sprung from an aquatic animal species. He thought the humans who began life with prolonged infancy could not have survived otherwise. In truth, he was not fully incorrect. Humans did come from the sea, or more correctly, our predecessors did. Certain factors of our forms betray that secret. Besides the basics of pregnancy and its life starting in water, as simple as our eyes, is proof of this filled with liquid, and the flipping of the image is said to come from when we lived in the water. Underwater is up and down flip for buoyant species. In 1493, sailing off the coast of Hispaniola, Columbus reported seeing 3 female forms which rose high out of the sea, but were not as beautiful as they are represented. The logbook of Blackbeard, an English pirate, records that he instructed his crew on several voyages to steer away from charted waters, which he called enchanted, for fear of merfolk or mermaids, which Blackbeard himself and members of his crew reported seeing. These sightings were often recounted with and shared by sailors and pirates who believed that mermaids brought bad luck and bewitched them into giving up their gold or dragging them to the bottom of the sea. 2 sightings were reported in Canada near Vancouver and Victoria, one from sometime between 1870 to 1890 and the other from 1967. The Pennsylvanian fishermen reported 5 sightings of a mermaid in the Sassola River near Marionette in June 1881. I don't know if it was the same one cited 5 times or separate mermaids. In August 2009, after a dozen of people reported seeing a mermaid leaping out of Haifa Bay waters and doing aerial tricks, the Israeli coastal town of Kiryat Yam offered a $1 million award for proof of its existence. In February 2012, work on 2 reservoirs near Kokwe and Mutere in Zimbabwe stopped when workers refused to continue, stating that mermaids had hounded them away from the sites. It was reported by Samuel Sipepa Nikoma, the Water Resources Minister. On May 2012, a television documentary, or docu-fiction, aired on Animal Planet, which centered on the experiences of former National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration scientists, showing a CGI recreation of an amateur sound and video of a beached mermaid and discussing scientific theories involving the existence of mermaids. In July 2012, in response to public inquiries and the possibilities that some viewers may have mistaken the program for a documentary instead of a mockumentary, I guess you could also call it, the National Ocean Services, a branch of NOAA, made the unusual declaration that no evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever been found. A year later, in 2013, Animal Planet followed this up by airing another docu-fiction titled Mermaids: The New Evidence, featuring previously unreleased video evidence, including what a former Iceland geo-survey scientist witnessed while diving off the coast of Greenland in an underwater submersible. The videos proved 2 different shots of what appeared to be humanoid creatures approaching and touching their vehicle. NOAA once again released a statement saying the person identified as a NOAA scientist was an actor. The actor is separately identified as David Evans of Ontario, Canada. Obviously, these were all hoaxes. I cannot say, though, if the intention was to fool people or to entertain, but regardless, it did mislead and confuse. Another possible origin for merfolk could have been Europeans seeing natives fishing off the shore. An example of this is the Ama, or Ama, are Japanese skin divers, predominantly women who traditionally dive for shellfish and seaweed, wearing only loincloths, and who had been in action for at least 2,000 years. They operate off reefs near the shore and some perform for sightseers instead of diving to collect a harvest. The best part of the hoax video on Animal Planet is how hard they worked to say what they were describing. Their merfolk were sea monkeys. Not like the ones you buy in the packets, but they were monkeys, as humans were once monkeys, and that's where they have the division happening, way back before they were humans. And these ones evolved underwater. That was the most possible origin of merfolk I've heard yet, though. Except for that they're either being manatees at a great distance or misidentified fishermen and women, as with the Ama. More people in the past may have fished that way than we currently know of, as in more societies. Sounds like any society that had a reef around their island or near their island would have done this. And possibly they quit doing it when these boats kept showing up and endangering the safety of their women and fishermen. It does trouble me, though, that they are so common in the mythologies of all the world, although water is a major part of human life. If you see them as just another anthropomorphic animal-human hybrid, they become even more numerous. It becomes common to add animal parts to humans. I could see the occasional mutation, as with Cyrenomylia, but not a complete race. But in closing, I will say I do support the theory of multiple humanoid races once lived on the Earth. But the complete inferiority of developing a fish-like being with sticky out parts like humans for such a thing to exist and to still live. Yes, lots of bad ideas are born through the process of evolution and mutations, and lots of bad ideas will die out. There would have been more of this design. Or, unless more fish developed limbs like humans that stayed in the water. It looks like nature learned that this was not an efficient design. And I think for the most part, most cryptozoologists that I've looked into also agree. Thank you.